For 27 years, Bill Snyder was an institution here in Manhattan, Kansas. But tonight, the program is handed off to a new name. Coach Kleiman, who comes from North Dakota State, where he won 4 national championships. Kansas State kicks off a new era against Nicholls tonight on Big 12 Now. You're watching Big 12 Now on ESPN Plus. Sold out tonight here in Manhattan, Kansas. And we are pumped up and ready as the Wildcats host Nicholls out of FCS. Lots of changes that we are so looking forward to seeing here tonight, but we are thrilled to have this guy here, Mike Golic Jr. Mike, welcome. This should be a fun night of football here from the Midwest.
Can't wait. It's going to be incredible. A new beginning here in Manhattan, Kansas, something they've been looking forward to for quite a while. Let's go down and be a part of it.
That's right. New beginnings mean new entrances. Let's check this one out. And as you can tell, they are ready for this new era in Manhattan. You know, Mike, it's one thing to replace a head coach. It's another thing to replace a legend. Do they have the right guy to do that in Chris Kleiman?
Absolutely. Chris Kleiman comes over with all the clout that you could want from the FCS level, 4 championships in 5 seasons. But I think what sets him apart is the understanding and the hunger for more. He was a part of wins over teams like Iowa, Iowa State, Minnesota, even this team in Manhattan, Kansas, and Kansas State. But the difference is, he says, we showed we can do it in single game seasons. He knows that there is something left to prove, the idea that they can do it over the full course of a year in a conference like the Big 12.
He was the gold standard in FCS football, winning as the head coach 4 national titles at North Dakota State. How did he do it, and can he bring that success here to Manhattan?
Absolutely, brings that defensive background with him. They're obviously well known for the quarterbacks, though. Carson Wentz, Easton Stick, these guys that were so dynamic and so productive for them in so many ways. And he's got a guy now here in Skylar Thompson, who I think can replicate a lot of that production in Manhattan.
Now, when you come from FCS football, obviously you look across the sideline and the field, and they are not going to underestimate the Nicholls Colonels here tonight, ranked in the top 25 in FCS football. We'll introduce you to the Colonels and get you set for kickoff. It's Kansas State and Nicholls coming up from the Little Apple. What a sight tonight, Bill Snyder Family Stadium here in Manhattan. Nicholls Colonels, Kansas State Wildcats. Thrilled to have you with us. Big 12 Now on ESPN Plus. A new era there, and Tim Rebowe for Nicholls, his 5th season. He's completely turned around the Nicholls program. Back-to-back postseasons, a 9-4 record a season ago. 2nd round exit after bowing out to Eastern Washington, a team that eventually lost to North Dakota State in last year's postseason.
Coach Kleiman, all too familiar, saw him on that side of the bracket. Winless in 2014 was Nicholls, and now to the point where they are the favorite in their conference going into this season. An exciting challenge to start off the Kleiman era here in Manhattan.
Nicholls wins the toss. They elect to defer. Gunnar Jones, the junior, will put it in the air for the Colonels. Back to receive Phillip Brooks, redshirt freshman for Kansas State. Electricity tonight here in the Little Apple. Big 12 Now on ESPN Plus. You are in the right place, and the Kansas State football season is officially underway. Taken from the 7-yard line, it's Brooks. He'll get to that far side and be taken down at about the 28-yard line. Starting point for Skylar Thompson and the Wildcats offense. Skylar, a junior, entrenched as the starter this season. Started 14 games over his Kansas State career, but this season a little bit different than last year. Mike, how so?
Yeah, just a little bit different. 14 career starts, but coming intermittently, coming with that constant threat of Alex Delton, who's now the TCU quarterback, and they'll see later this season, gets the chance to run the show on his own.
First play from scrimmage for the Wildcats. They'll pound it up the gut and get about 4 tough yards up to the 32-yard line. And that was James Gilbert, the senior, on the carry. Nicholls tough up front on defense. This is a very stingy defense. Only gave up 105 yards per game on the ground a season ago.
Absolutely, and they're going to have their hands full with a very multiple Kansas State attack. You go back and look at those North Dakota State offenses, you see a lot of multi-tight end sets like the one we're looking at now.
So 2nd and 6, send the big tight end, Nick Lenners, in motion. And Thompson will hand it off again. It's Gilbert looking for yardage. Not much there, though. It's well played by Glenn Thurmond, the big sophomore out of LaPlace, Louisiana, helped out by Larion James.
James Gilbert's a great example of what this remade backfield is all about. Brought back exactly 0 returning rushing yards from the running back room. The first time since 1949 that's happened here in Manhattan, Kansas. Gilbert, the transfer from Ball State, over 600 career carries for the Cardinals. They were a 2016 first-team All-MAC selection, so plenty of football for a guy that they're going to need to show out early.
Multiple look for the Wildcats offensively. Trips to the left. Here on 3rd down and 5. Thompson to throw it. He'll look right and fire a nice one to Malik Knowles, and he's got a 1st down for the Wildcats. That kind of gets the jitters out. Lots in play here on this opening night.
Yeah, we talked to Coach Kleiman and Courtney Messingham, their offensive coordinator, and they said for these young players like Malik Knowles, who's going to be one of the impact players for them tonight, along with left tackle Scott France, they said they wanted to get these young receivers a couple of short passes early, get them some confidence. Malik Knowles is a guy who got some last year, even in the midst of a redshirt year, thanks to that new rule that allows you to play 4 games and still maintain that eligibility.
See Glenn Thurmond, big sophomore, already has made a play. And Alan Pittman, the senior linebacker.
Timeout, Kansas State. This is their first charge timeout of the half. Timeout on the field.
So we'll step aside, just underway here in Manhattan. 1st down. First down for Kansas State. Ball marked at the 43-yard line, and Mike will quickly check out our keys to the game.
Yeah, if you're looking at Kansas State, you want to jumpstart not only this game, but this new era. It's Chris Kleiman taking over for Bill Snyder, whose name is on the stadium, who stands to maybe see its 200th win here. You want to energize this entire group by getting some big plays going early right now, and it's the perfect setup. Short completions early on, a couple of runs with Gilbert mixed in. They're setting themselves up off the same window dressing you're seeing right here that'll eventually net them a shot play, probably to one of these tight ends.
Thompson again works the shotgun. Fakes it and now tosses it left. He's got Knowles again. Quickly taken down, though. That is a nice play made by Jarius Monroe, the freshman.
And I think this is one thing that Courtney Messingham and this offense do really well, which is they take similar looks, these 2 tight end, 12 personnel looks, and they set it up and they run one play out of it. They set it up, they throw a short pass out of it. They make everything look the same so that when they finally hit that play action off of it, it looks entirely similar. As now we get our first look at the fullback, which is another hallmark of one of these offenses.
Brings up 2nd and 5. Fake it to him. Thompson rolling to his right. Fires another one. This one's incomplete. Knowles had to go to the ground that time. Coverage provided by Monroe.
And forget getting them comfortable. They're just going to give Malik Knowles the entire offense right now early on. I don't know if there's been a pass that's gone to anyone but him, just out of reach here. That's one of those that as he continues to go along right now, the redshirt freshman's going to have to come up and understand they expect him to be a playmaker and a long-rangey one at that.
That wide receiver position, a bit of a question mark here going into the season. Who is going to step up and grab those spots? 3rd down conversions nearly 40% for the Wildcats a season ago. They need 5. Thompson looks to his left again. Short throw. Brown has got it this time. He's to the 45, about 2 yards in front of that 1st down marker.
And again, you see the multiple nature of this offense now as big bodies come running back onto the field. And this is what you want to do. And coming out of camp, we were talking to Coach and the offensive coordinator about this, basically saying they weren't really holding anything back. They didn't have to spoon feed it. These guys were eager, especially Skyler, a quarterback who has really been communicating back with the staff what he likes and doesn't.
So 1st down, Wildcats. Run it one more time. This is Jordan Brown, the senior And one of the transfers, he comes from North Carolina. He's taken down in the backfield. And let's see, maybe got about 2 yards.
Another one, 13 starts at North Carolina, over 1,000 career rushing yards there. They've got experience in the backfield, just not experience in this offense. And so you look to these guys and you think the one area that could be the biggest problem is when you get to pass protection, asking them to work with an offensive line that's still new to a lot of them.
First meeting ever. Kansas State moving it on Nicholls. 2nd down and long. Thompson again. He's been busy. Dumps it off this time to Harry Trotter. And the junior out of bounds. He'll have a first. Alan Pittman knocked him out.
Great action here off the 2-back set. You've got the wheel route by Brown going up the sideline that gets the lion's share of attention. And so who's sitting underneath but Harry Trotter? A great job of clearing out that side of the field for another easy completion, getting Skylar Thompson in a great rhythm early.
So we've seen Jordan Brown, the North Carolina transfer, and now Trotter, the Louisville transfer, getting involved. And this is a good-looking drive by Kansas State here to start. Again, it's Lenners in motion. They'll try and pound it up the gut this time, right into the teeth of that Nicholls defense. And that picked up about 3.
And now as you start to get to this high red zone area, this is where you start to wonder if the shot's coming, and the guy it would go to just ran onto the field. Dalton Schoen is a guy who is 10 yards shy of 1,000 career yards for his career, and is 4th in school history in yards per catch average at 18 yards. So if a shot is coming, I'd look for 83 near the bottom of the field here.
18 yards per catch he brings to the field this year. 2nd and 6. Thompson looks that way. He'll toss it deep. Incomplete. It was intended for Knowles. Broken up though as Darren Evans looked to be in the right place at the right time.
Great protection, plenty of time. Right on top of it. But you look on deals and you see Darren Evans, who led the team in pass breakups last year with 8, getting just enough on him. And a young receiver, as he grows up, is going to get better with that concentration, marrying upper body and lower body, even with some contact.
See if Nicholls can get a stop here. Wildcats need 6. And this is Thompson. He can certainly run it. Tries to get to the outside. Not going to get around Christian Mims. And we do have a flag, though, along the sideline.
Looking like in the area of a face mask there. Will bail him out. An absolute backbreaker for this Nicholls defense if it's going against them. Judging by all the happy purple people in here, I would guess it is.
Tuda Salam, our head referee tonight.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, half the distance to the goal, automatic, first down.
Oh, right there.
Absolute right call, tough one. You got a big, strong quarterback you're looking to try and bring down. And trying to get off the field if you're this Nicholls defense, give your offense a chance. We're going to get to Chase Forcade, their great quarterback, on the other side. But right now, methodical drive here. Maybe this is another chance for a play-action shot for Kansas State.
Ball spotted now at the 14. Kansas State has had it over 5 minutes. Run it one more time. This Kansas State offense, multiple looks we're going to see throughout the season as Monroe gets in on the stop. Courtney Messingham's the offensive coordinator. He comes from North Dakota State as well, was a part of 2 of those national championships, was also at Iowa State before that.
Absolutely. He's got a lot to work with, a lot of tools we've already seen. They're excited about. Knowles Schoen brings a ton of optimism at the receiver spot, but 96 combined starts for the group up front to work with. And Connor Riley, their O-line coach, is a great teacher.
Run this one right. Trotter tries to get to the outside. He's to the 5, and he is into the end zone.
And just strength on the run right there. You see Mason Barta, the fullback, getting out front, getting just enough, and then it's a foot race on the edge, and the will to work through a couple of tackles gives Chris Kleiman his first touchdown as the Kansas State head football coach.
Wildcats could not have scripted it much better than that. Over 6 minutes on the drive, and now Chris Kleiman's special teams unit on the field. Blake Lynch to try and put this through. Touchdown by Trotter. Seven nothing. Good start for Kansas State. That is how you kick off a brand new era.
A heavy dose of ground and pound for Kansas State in that first drive, and one of the transfer backs in Trotter finds pay dirt early. 7-0.
Touchdown run by Harry Trotter, the Louisville transfer. Kansas State on top, 7-0. It's Courtney Messingham, new offensive coordinator here in Manhattan. What a start.
Got to try out all the toys on that first drive. We saw a little Jordan Brown, a little James Gilbert, the touchdown by Trotter, all out of that backfield, and a healthy dose of Malik Knowles. And that was the one they pointed out to us as a guy that they really thought could take a step forward this year. Last year, the most catches by a K-State freshman since a guy named Tyler Lockett. So good company there, still maintaining the redshirt year, and clearly you see the potential with 4.
Todd Smith back to return the kick for Nicholls. Blake Lynch to do the honors for Kansas State. Ruckus environment tonight, opening night in Manhattan. Bearcats going to be called for inside the 5 for Smith. So Nicholls, you've heard anything about the Colonels coming in? You certainly
on the kickoff, the ball be placed at the 25-yard line. First down, Nicholls.
Certainly have heard about their quarterback. He is number 9 here tonight, Chase Forcade. He's a senior, one of the elite quarterbacks in FCS football. What makes him so special, Mike?
I think his quick decision making. You're going to see this guy operate an offense that he's so well versed in. You mentioned the 4-year starter, the program's all-time leader in passing yards, and he's going to need every bit of that command against a very stout D-line from K-State.
Send a receiver in motion, hand this one off to Kendall Bussey. Right up the middle, and a nice gainer of about 9 on the first play from scrimmage for the Colonels offensively.
Kendall Bussey's a guy they're very excited about too, the Texas A&M transfer, who actually, when Nicholls played Texas A&M, had a great game against them, and they really thought was the difference. And now he brings that great physical skill set to an offense that there's not a lot of frills to.
Second and short. Forcade will loft this one downfield. It's intercepted. A.J. Parker has it for the Wildcats.
And he saw it the whole way. You see the boot action off the run, just floats it out here. And A.J. Parker, they told us their best cover corner. And you watch his eyes on this play the whole way, tracking, coming off his man, and making a play as Forcade stares that one down. A disaster start for Nicholls early on the road. Every coaching staff comes in wanting to limit turnovers, but when you're an FCS program coming up to play against a team that up front is going to physically outman you, you cannot have plays like that, especially on your end of the field.
Third career interception for A.J. Parker. And now Thompson wants to go to the air again. Down the middle. Oh, he had Knowles. Had it in his fingertips, just couldn't squeeze it.
The coaching staff is already smiling because they see the great route from Knowles. He gets open, has the post coming back into the field. And this is now the 3rd ball that's hit him dead in the hands. And that's not to discount the defense. He's having to make that play in traffic, but it getting right there as he grows into this role. These are great correctable moments that the coaching staff is already bankrolling in their mind right now from a great position operating from here as they get back into this full house. Maybe expect a little Thompson run action. out of this formation.
Nicholls, the redshirt freshman out of Mansfield, Texas. Back to the ground game, and this is Trotter looking for a place to cut it upfield. That's a good tackle by Alan Pittman, the senior linebacker, who is the big hitter on this Colonels defense. Keep in mind, Nicholls tonight defensively, Mike, playing without two of their best players. One Sully Lesh, the other Evan Veron.
Sully Lesh, they're All-American from last year, but Pittman's a big hitter. He led this team in tackles in 2016 and 17, and he plays well against Power 5 teams. 16 tackles versus Texas A&M in 2017. He's not afraid of the big stage and relishes the opportunity to go up against a quality opponent.
Now 3rd and 10. Colonels defense will dig in once again, showing blitz here. Thompson back to throw and play action again. This time we'll try and get out of the pocket, use his legs. A little bit of room to run, and that's just great quarterback play from the junior, Skylar Thompson.
Awesome job by the O-line picking up the blitz originally. You're going to see the twist down on the bottom side. The center and the guard pass that off, but coverage down the field's good. And so what do? If you're an athlete, you break contain and see what happens. And this is the best part as an offensive lineman about playing with a quarterback that has this mobility, is you understand he might get into some jams every once in a while where maybe you fall into a sack, but more often than not, it's going to look like that.
It's that leadership coaches are so excited about as he heads into his junior season. Another first down for Kansas State. They have worn out Nicholls here on these first few drives. Jordan Brown gets the carry, and there again is Pittman, the linebacker.
Boy, Pittman is something, just going straight downhill, and you see a lot of stretch runs from this team right now. Get him flowing sideline to sideline, get him coming downhill right now. And all of that leads you to, all right, if Pittman's coming up and they're going to see him taking the bait like that, taking the cheese, going immediately over the top. Nicholls back on the field right now. We've seen a couple looks for him down in this high red zone area already.
Coach Messingham dialing up all the right plays so far. Here a little bit further than midway through the first quarter. Drew Felios, Mike Golick Jr. 2nd and 10 now for Kansas State, and again it's Thompson using his legs inside the 10, and he scores.
Same story as the last play, but better result. Again, a play action look here. The protection holds up initially, but nothing shaking loose down the field. So what does he do? He sees a bunch of bodies bailing out, and then the athleticism to make Christian Mims, a great defender on the other side, miss in space.
Chris Kleiman loving it. Skylar Thompson playing nearly perfect football through 2 drives as Lynch comes on to kick the extra point. It's 14-0.
A completely different look. You see the freedom in this offense now, and everyone, including your star quarterback.
Great start for Kansas State. A 2-touchdown lead on Nicholls. 5:45 left to go in the first quarter. Big 12 now on ESPN Plus, a must for Big 12 fans. Home to more than 50 men's basketball games, 200 plus women's basketball and Olympic sporting events, plus original content, coaches, press conferences, and so much more. Big 12 now available on your phone, tablet, desktop, or TV connected devices. Sign up today at ESPNplus.com.
Awesome home for the Big 12 here on ESPN Plus. Super excited to be a part of all this. You mentioned all the original programming. A few miles down the road in Lawrence, they got a coach that'll be pretty heavily featured in that app. But for now, it's all about this quality start for Chris Kleiman and K-State.
Taj Smith fights his way to the 23-yard line. Kansas State said they wanted to own the big plays tonight. They've done that so far.
They have. You see the interception here early for a team that can't afford it. A.J. Parker, their top cover corner. And then it has been all about Skylar Thompson right now. The freedom in this offense that he didn't have a year ago. And that comes with it being multiple. And that comes with the understanding that this coaching staff has sought to create. We've heard it from top to bottom. Chris Kleiman walked in, put his arms around these kids and said, what can I do for you? And I think that message and that mentality has really empowered the guys on the field to go out and play with that freedom.
It's got everyone invested here so far. 4K back on the field after throwing the interception. Bussey, his running back, will be stopped by Daquan Patton. I mean, Mike, you were here the end of last season. You saw Kansas State wrap up 2018. You've seen them now here through about a quarter. What do you think the biggest differences are?
Well, there's energy. Listen, and none of this is a knock on Coach Snyder. What he did here is obviously one of the most unrivaled coaching jobs and program improvements we've seen in college football history. But it was 27 years in the making, and going through that over and over again, you get a chance and you get a taste of something new, and it can't help but re-energize a very veteran group of players.
2nd and 9 now. Forcade swings it out to Bussey, and Bussey's going to get to the 30-yard line, tackled there by Denzel Goolsby, a senior and a big-time leader for Kansas State. If you need anybody to look up to, if you're an incoming freshman on this Wildcats roster, number 20's the guy.
The family struggles that he went through as a young man, as a freshman in high school, and what he overcame was trying to put together money so he could go to college. Walked into a bank and opened an investment account when he was 15 years old to bankroll some of the money from mowing lawns. Knew he was going to need a scholarship, goes out and earns it now as one of the veteran leaders on this team.
3rd and 3 now. Colonels will try and rush for the first down. It's going to be tough to do, and I'm not sure if he got it. Jonathan Durham trying to hold him up for Kansas State. Also Sullivan, Elijah Sullivan, was also there to trip him up as Gums was the ball carrier.
You see Sullivan, Kyle Ball, all these veteran players that, again, you talk about defense. Looking at Scott Hazelton, and what they tend to do is give their defensive linemen room to take creative risks. And so you'll see these guys knifing into the backfield, backdooring blocks, trying to do things to disrupt the other side, and the end result is a 4th down and a punt from Nicholls.
Winston Jones will punt it away, and there is Phillip Brooks, the redshirt freshman for Kansas State. Nearly got to it that time. It'll take a Nicholls bounce, be fielded at the 20. This is Brooks. It's got all kinds of speed. Finally gets taken down at the 29-yard line. You mentioned, though, the energy, the optimism, the new life, the new spirit. Boy, do you ever feel it.
Timeout on the field
here in this first quarter. 14-0, just over 3 minutes to go in this first quarter. Well, there's a great new way to access the Big 12. It's Big 12 now on ESPN+. Next Saturday, it's Les Miles in Kansas hosting Coastal Carolina. Then Mike Gundy and Oklahoma State take on McNeese. Both games available at 7 Eastern Time, 6 Central. To watch these games, plus a lot more about the Big 12 Conference, sign up today, ESPNplus.com. Kansas State offense has spent a lot of time on the field here in this first quarter. They get it up to the 35-yard line, couple yards on first down. Jordan Brown, the ball carrier.
They're giving this veteran offensive line a chance to tee off. 96 career starts. Scott France is going to be a guy who plays NFL football at some point. And you see them just going forward and going to work. This is a Kansas State offense that in years past, doing some of the same zone blocking, was more of a shuffle hinge group, and now they're attacking, and it makes such a world of difference.
Hand it off one more time. Nice move made by Jordan Brown. Mike, you mentioned that offensive line. It is a senior, all-senior group, that is. Some guys, though, a little bit unproven. You got Rivas right there. Evan Curl, number 72, another who's just trying to get reps. Tyler Mitchell, 3rd-year starter. You got guys still with a lot to prove. Scott France, though, clear, I think, from a talent standpoint, the best of the bunch.
38 straight starts, the most among Power 5 offensive linemen returning this season. A leader, a great pass protector, and a guy who's being allowed to roll off the rock for a short 3rd and 1.
Mason Barter, the fullback, checks in. We'll pound this one again. This is Gilbert. James Gilbert just dragging tacklers that time as he got to the 43-yard line. Pittman for the Colonels in on the stop again. Yeah, the best pass protector, clearly Scott France. Started every single game since he has been on campus. Now he is a senior. You know, as a former offensive lineman, to start every game, to never miss one, that's something else.
And to get a new offensive line coach. Now, Connor Riley, who at North Dakota State coached 9 All-Americans on that team, so knows what to do, but it's different coming in with a veteran group. You're polishing instead of rebuilding.
Run this one again, shifting, and now cutting it to the left side is Gilbert. And he'll be knocked out at the 45-yard line. James Gilbert's got a little bit of burst.
He's a guy they have a lot of trust in. Again, his body of work at Ball State is well known. You know what to do after 600 carries. That time, you suck the defenders up into the box right there, and then a quick jump cut to the outside, shorten that edge, and make life easier for your offensive line. D lineman peeking inside, all of a sudden, I can capture an edge, we can capture a first down.
Senior out of Indianapolis, sat out 2017, had a medical red shirt, graduated, now he is here in Manhattan. It's amazing, the scope of college football, all the transfers you have throughout the game. It is really incredible, not just at this level too, at the FCS level as well.
You see it all over the place, and you see a lot of different reasons. There is no one reason why guys transfer. There's no one answer. I understand a lot of people really find themselves against all this player movement, but you're getting opportunities like this. James Gilbert was a guy who had a medical hardship in 2017. Guys who have dealt with injury in difficult spots now get a chance to play.
Gilbert again, running very well here in this first quarter, and Kansas State just continuing to pound it, not giving Nicholls offense a chance, averaging right now nearly 6 yards per rush.
You can do whatever you want offensively with that. Courtney Messingham is salivating as his team goes downhill, and it's just student body left and right. It's Mason Barta leading around with Rivas or one of these offensive linemen pulling in conjunction, and you're just throwing as many bodies as you can at a defense that is much more undersized comparatively. And here comes, watch the play action shot. You see shown in the slot right there is the perfect opportunity.
First down now. Thompson, run it again. Trying to look for a hole is Gilbert. And he'll get it inside the 30-yard line. That should be the final play. It will be of this first quarter. How about the start for Kansas State? A new entrance. But the same, quality football here in Manhattan. A 2-touchdown lead. What a night so far here in Manhattan. Drew Felios, Mike Golick Jr., and over 50,000 ruckus Wildcats fans kicking off 2019. Big 12 now on ESPN Plus. Kansas State moving it at will. They've got it inside the 30 on 2nd down and 5.
What's cooler than seeing a fullback in 2019, Drew?
Definitely a dying breed.
How about two? How about two?
There you go. Old school football. James Gilbert. Tough to bring down. Pittman finally does it, but not before he picks up a first down at the 22.
You see the motion that brings Nick Leonard there into the backfield alongside Mason Barta. I think in the modern age, we see so much of spread offenses in college and pro. We see Cliff Kingsbury, a former Big 12 alum, going to the NFL. We forget that a lot of the best offenses are still doing the same thing, manipulating those big skill bodies, and that's what this Courtney Messingham offense does so well.
Yeah, they'll show you so many different looks. 4 wideouts now for the Wildcats. And this one, jet sweep. Phillip Brooks tries to get to the outside, tripped up there, and eventually to the 14-yard line. So Brooks has got a lot of speed out of Lee Summit, Missouri, a redshirt freshman. Not many true freshmen we get to see here in Manhattan on the field, that's for sure.
No, certainly, and that was one of the other hallmarks, I think, of Bill Snyder and that program was it was really hard for young guys to get on the field consistently. It was hard to build that trust. And we're, I think, going to see a lot more of what's around the rest of college football. If you're good enough to play early, you're going to be on the field.
2nd down and short, need 3. Thompson has been on target so far. This time running it again. Jordan Brown, and he is in. Touchdown, Wildcats.
As a defense, it's just so much to keep track of. You get down in the red zone, and who's beat you the last couple times with his feet? Skylar Thompson, who's carrying out the run fake there, and you just get a normal counter action there, pull your guard, and the backside tight end, and now all of a sudden you've got a wide open hole because so much attention has to be paid to a very dangerous Skylar Thompson.
Blake Lynch to make it 21-0. The onslaught continues for Kansas State. They're owning Nicholls here at the moment.
Nothing but daylight in front of Jordan Brown right there. This Kansas State offense is getting whatever it wants right now, and we're all getting a great look at the Chris Kleiman era.
The first 4 episodes of Miles to Go are now available on Big 12 Now on ESPN+. The all-access series chronicles the first season of new Kansas head coach Les Miles. New episodes available each week. Miles to Go streaming exclusively on Big 12 Now on ESPNplus.com. How about the offense so far from Kansas State? That is one happy offensive coordinator, Courtney Messingham.
And you can understand why. You come with a new team, your same offense, but a host of new toys. And so now what he's got is the opportunity to play around with a backfield full of veteran transfer players like Jordan Brown, who comes over from North Carolina with 13 career starts there, like James Gilbert, who we've seen from Ball State. So many multiple formations, and it's really all been mostly on the ground outside of a few Malik Knowles shots. Still plenty more for fans here to get excited about.
Taken from the 4-yard line. Nicholls trying to get something going. And how about that play? Tripped up. That was Lance Robinson getting in on special teams. And in the runs right now are just unstoppable.
You see the heavy looks, manipulating big personnel. 2 fullbacks in the backfield for the ground and pound run. The jet sweep motion out of the shotgun set that gives your athletes a chance to move around in space. And then down near the goal line, a little read option with your quarterback, who's already made some guys miss on some broken plays. Gets Brown an easy running lane to the outside. They do it with multiple blocking schemes. There's some zone, there's some power, there's some pin and pull action. But all of it starts and ends with a group up front who's allowed to come screaming off the ball and reestablish a line of scrimmage. And now on the other side, that's exactly what Nicholls has to do. They've got to start to establish a little bit of their own identity with a talented backfield that really hasn't had a chance to show itself today.
Nicholls has not had a first down so far in this game. Have not been able to possess the football. See if our FCS All-American quarterback Chase Forcade can get something rolling here. So first down and 10. Julian Gums, the running back, splits out wide to the right. Forcade to put it in the air, and it's a quick seam route, and Dejon Dixon has it, and he should have a first down at the 28-yard line. If you're watching this game, you're thinking, okay, Kansas State should be doing this, but Mike, remember last year, Nicholls beat Kansas on opening night, and then a couple years before that, they took Georgia to the wire in Athens.
This is a team that is no stranger to Power 5 opponents and playing them close. The ones you just mentioned, the most recent examples. They've got their work cut out for them right now.
That's Wyatt Hubert just waiting to call his name. He is an absolute load.
He's one of our impact guys on defense for Kansas State today. Was a freshman All-American last year, and according to Pro Football Focus, second among Big 12 edge rushers in quarterback pressures. Added weight this offseason, put on a good solid 20 pounds, and felt the strength and speed increases that come with that is going to be deadly in this league this year.
Loss of 1 on first down. Forcade will try and get it back in more. He'll throw it far, down the sideline and incomplete. Looking for Dejon Dixon. Again, tight coverage. And that was 31, Jerron McPherson on the coverage.
Dejon Dixon, second team All Southland Conference last year. A guy coaches were excited to see against Power 5 defensive backs. Right there, McPherson, your nickelback. Looked like that ball was supposed to be going to him the whole way. I think they call that running the route for him. As we got a man down right now for Nicholls.
Yeah, at the 43-yard line. Being tended to. That is Aaron McKinney, the junior, being tended to, and will step aside. Third down and long coming up here for Chase Forcade and the Nicholls offense. While we were away, Aaron McKinney was helped off the field. Did walk off, but needed help. And that's not good news for Nicholls.
No, another one of their big-bodied wide receivers. We've already seen Dejon Dixon now getting involved this drive, but McKinney, 6'3", played in 11 games last season. It's all hands on deck right now, down 21-0. You've got to start to manufacture some offense on this drive.
Julian Gums, the running back, spread things out here on 3rd and 11. 4K surveying things, he'll throw it short. Not going to be nearly enough for the first down as McPherson there to quickly converge and make the tackle on Jordan Talley.
And that's exactly what this Kansas State defense wants to be able to do in 3rd and long situations. Rush 4, throw a little twist on there, but no, you've got the guys up front that can create enough pressure and allow your secondary to sit back, come up, and make plays. Give your offense the ball for another drive.
Winston Jones to punt it away. Brooks waiting for Kansas State. Low kick this time. It'll take a Colonel's bounce inside the 30-yard line, be down at about the 27.
Big 12 Now on ESPN Plus is a must for Big 12 fans. It is home to more than 50 men's basketball games, 200+ women's basketball and Olympic sports events, original content, coaches' press conferences, and shows. Big 12 Now is available on your phone, tablet, desktop, or TV-connected devices. Sign up today at ESPNplus.com.
Here's Thompson dumping it off short and taking it up the field. Oh, that is a big-time hit. Jack Stanine gets a chance to touch the football. You know he's loving that.
What did I say before? What's the only thing better than a fullback in 2019? Is 2 of them? Well, one catch and a pass is probably even a step further than that. We're one fullback touchdown away from me losing all composure in this booth today.
So far, Skylar Thompson is playing tremendous football for Kansas State. Mason Barta now in at fullback. Try and punch this one up. Harry Trotter already has a touchdown tonight. He'll get it across the 40-yard line. Kansas State last year 5-7. They did not make a bowl game for the first time in 9 years, and it was such a tough situation. Coach Snyder has meant so much to this university, but eventually you knew the time had to come, and eventually it came.
There's no perfect time, but I think they ended up with the perfect guy for the job in Chris Kleiman. Again, the hunger that he brings, the new approach, the attitude. He wasn't worried about what they had done before. He only wanted to come in and be himself, and that's such a hard thing to do in the shadow of a legend.
Oh, nice play. That's Aquindus Stibe, the junior from St. James, Louisiana, an inside linebacker who has moved to the outside, and he's making plays.
And that's why, giving them some flexibility on the edge right now, knifing into the backfield. That was one of the keys for Nicholls, is they keep track of tackles for loss and sacks. They want to get at least 7 in the body of a game. And when you're overmatched along the lines of scrimmage, getting some plays behind the line of scrimmage, creating turnovers and extra opportunities for your offense are paramount. And now even more dire, down 3 scores.
Lost a couple yards on that play. So it's 2nd and 12. Thompson slings it out, and the receivers continue to get open. That's the first time Dalton Schoen touches the ball. The former walk-on has a first down for the Wildcats.
Yeah, we're now in Dalton Schoen's touchdown range. You see that full house action that was all run before, and now this is what Courtney Messingham does so well, takes those same looks and starts to get the ball down the field a little more. Dalton Schoen, 5 career touchdowns, averaging 45.8 yards on those scores. We are right in his wheelhouse right here if they want to continue to add to that stellar stat line.
And that catch and run, now he is over 1,000 yards in his career here at Kansas State. So a big catch for Schoen, getting him going. Back to Trotter on the ground. And I really like the mixture of running backs Kansas State has been able to show throughout this first half. Well, we mentioned the Big 12 and all the exciting things going on in this conference, Mike. We'll talk about the Big 12 and size it up at halftime, but just exciting times with with Big 12 now on ESPN Plus and all the coverage. Just a great time to be a sports fan and a Big 12 sports fan.
A lot of newness in the conference right now. We mentioned there is a lot of coaching turnover outside of just Manhattan that everyone gets acquainted to in a conference already known for high-powered offense. This is going to be a great addition.
Trotter showing some speed. Oh, he's got some wheels. Goes down, though. I think the turf made the tackle that time at the 25.
Oh, the turf monster. Undefeated and untied. A great bounce. No one in sight around there, shortening that edge against Kevin Moore. Going to be absolutely sick. He saw nothing but daylight. He was already planning out the celebration, and instead he gets to pick some of those black rubber pellets out of his shoes and his socks.
Back in his home state of Kansas, Harry Trotter, after coming over from Louisville. Everybody getting involved here tonight.
You got Nicholls with a lot of room all by himself up there. Look out.
Shown in motion. Run it again. And it's Gilbert. Legs just keep on turning. Gets it to the 21-yard line as the Wildcats machine keeps on churning. We'll talk about the Big 12, some of the newness, new coaches, Les Miles. I love Neil Brown. I had a chance to cover him a lot at Troy. I think he's going to do great things at West Virginia.
Absolutely. You see that. Matt Wells coming over from Utah State at Texas Tech for the departed Cliff Kingsbury, who was actually here at the last win for Bill Snyder at Bill Snyder Family Stadium.
2nd down and 5. Gilbert's been a workhorse here in this first half.
And you've got the luxury now, if you're Courtney Messingham, with that loaded backfield, with the easy success you're having, getting 6 yards a clip in the run game, to not really have to show much if you don't want to. It'd be nice to get a look at your extended passing game. Some of these play action shots that you know from going back and watching North Dakota State, they've got built into the playbook. But with the schedule they've got coming up, on the road at Mississippi State, on the road at Oklahoma State, you've got some opponents that maybe you don't want to give that game film to just yet.
1st down and 10. Run it one more time. It's Gilbert. He'll cut it to the inside. A flag will go down in the middle of the field. This one will likely come back. The fact that Kansas State did not return one rushing yard from last year and the way that they've run it so far in this game has just been amazing.
First time since 1949.
Just an incredible stat.
It even predates Bill Snyder. That's how you know it's an incredible stat. Unbelievable.
Oh, yes.
But these veterans, they've picked up.
Personal foul, illegal block below the waist, number 74, offense. 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
I understand player safety, and this is exactly where this is aimed. They've changed a lot of the rules about cutting, even in the box, making sure you're head up, you're straight up with a guy, because they don't want the ankle injuries, the knee injuries that come from the side. But as someone who is a part of a lot of zone blocking scheme, and you'll see the top center of the screen right now, France going here, diving at the side of the leg of the linebacker, which used to be the only play you had against fast-flowing linebackers if you're an offensive lineman. And now they want to keep these guys healthy and upright, but it changes what you can do on the backside of zone plays.
Sets him back now. They'll mark it at the 24-yard line and a 1st and 19. It's Gilbert. James Gilbert finding the holes and running right through them to the end zone.
We've seen so much from Kansas State. This is the bread and butter. Power is where this offense lives. And a great job tracking by Josh Rivas there. The left guard coming over. The most important thing being the puller on a power play is to block inside out on the linebacker. He gets his hat inside. The running back can work A-gap to A-gap, and you've got nothing but daylight.
28-0.
Timeout on the field.
Celebration in abundance tonight for the Wildcats. What a first half it has been. Kansas State legend Bill Snyder watching from high above here at Bill Snyder Family Stadium. 28-0 Wildcats lead. And fans of Kansas State, stay up to date with all things football and the new head coach. Watch Coach Kleiman's weekly show Sundays and his weekly press conferences on Mondays. These shows stream exclusively on Big 12 Now on ESPN Plus. Sign up now at ESPNplus.com. Wildcats to kick it off. Nicholls takes it at the 8-yard line. Taj Smith gets it across the 20, and if there is anybody in the entire state of Kansas that just deserves to sit back, take a deep breath, and enjoy the night, it is this guy, the legend, Bill Snyder.
Got his name on darn near everything in town, whether it's the highway, the airport, or the stadium here that looks like it's well on its way to seeing its 200th career victory. What Bill Snyder did is unprecedented, and we were talking the other day, will probably never be seen again. The day and age of these larger-than-life coaching figures, the Bill Snyders of the world, the Bobby Bowdens, what Joe Paterno built at Penn State. In today's landscape, I don't know if it's possible, but man, how thankful is everyone here for what that man built.
Nicholls tries to run it left. Taj Smith gets it to the 30 and a little bit more. They'll mark it out at the 32-yard line. I mean, would this be, do you think, the biggest turnaround in college football, what Bill Snyder did when he took over this Kansas State program in the late 80s?
Bar none, and it's ironic that one of the men involved in this was actually here for that game. Chris Kleiman himself was a player
yeah,
for Northern Iowa and came here for Bill Snyder's first home game, and he said there were a lot more empty seats in the stadium at that point, and to see what it is now, all of this excitement because of what Bill Snyder was able to do and accomplish in that time period. His 27 years as the head coach in 2 different stints.
Dejon Dixon will move the chains across midfield here, and the best drive for Nicholls. Packed house tonight here at the Little Apple in Manhattan. It's been all Kansas State from the start. Nicholls trying to run it, Kendall Bussey, and that's been the big difference. Wildcats have run it at will as McPherson makes the stop, and Nicholls has just not been able to establish that ground game whatsoever.
No, and down this many, it's going to be intermittent doses of the ground game. Talented backs in their own right. We mentioned Kendall Bussey, the transfer from Texas A&M. Julian Gums flashed last year when he was supposed to redshirt. All these guys that they wanted to get on the field, but now it's got to be a healthier dose of Dixon. A healthier dose of these outside receivers to try and make up some ground in a hurry and get something on the board before the half.
Nicholls offensively averaged 32 a game last year. They got a goose egg right now. Just under 5 to play in the first half. Bussey takes the screen and takes a shot. And I'll tell you what, McPherson is all over the place here in this first half.
Their nickel is moving with the right now. Zone look, so against a screen, you got a chance to sit there, get your eyes on the running back, and then fire downhill and trigger. And that's the thing, you're seeing these guys play fast, play downhill, and trust what they see. The first interception from A.J. Parker was a lot of the same. These guys are seeing everything right now. And as a defensive coordinator, Scotty Hazelton has to be thrilled.
Wildcats showing blitz. Hubert coming off the edge. Forcade lofts it in the air. Nearly intercepted. Walter Neal Jr. had it in his mitts. It'll be 4th down, Nicholls.
Scotty Hazelton comes from that Tampa 2 family, so you see the AA linebackers that we're so used to there. You bluff them out, you bring pressure off that side. Wayne Jones getting home to the quarterback. And then Walter Neal, make a play, change your life. In this game right now where there's so many plays being made for Kansas State, no one wants to be left out of the film session coming up on Monday.
Brooks has spent a lot of time on the field and special teams tonight as Winston Jones comes on to punt it away once more. So Kansas State will get it back here. Chance for more points before halftime, taken at the 12-yard line. Doing it on both sides so far. As Skylar Thompson buckles up the chin strap. Another drive on the way for the Well, Olympic sports will be a huge part of the Big 12 now on ESPN Plus schedule. K-State women's soccer is in full swing, and volleyball gets going soon. Catch all the action this season on Big 12 now on ESPN Plus. Wildcats just rolling Offensively so far, Brown the ball carrier that time. And he's stopped by Kevin Moore III. And we got an injured player at the 15-yard line. And I believe that's Scott France.
Hate to see that. Scott France, we mentioned, 38 straight starts coming into tonight, the most among Power 5 offensive linemen this season. A guy who I think absolutely has an NFL future in front of him. You hope it's nothing serious right now, game 1 of his senior year.
That offensive line has played so well here tonight. Josh Rivas, sophomore out of Hutchinson, Kansas, has shined as well, taking the knee next to him, and France is up. That's a great sign. He'll get a nice round of applause here in Manhattan. Not exactly sure what happened here, Mike.
Yep, you'll see 74 right in the middle of the screen here, going up on the linebacker. Goes down, you fall awkwardly there. It's always amazing. And you saw him walking a little gingerly there. Anytime you fall or roll something wrong on your lower body, it's one big shot of pain and you're not quite sure what's wrong. But no lineman, you sit there and wear those knee braces to try and stop anything from happening. And anytime you take a shot down there, it's always a reminder and a big sigh of relief when you finally get to the sideline and hope you find out good news.
Jordan Brown gets it up near that 20-yard line stripe. Nicholls trying to get a stop here, get the ball back, just get some points on the board here before halftime.
And all these moments are great opportunities for Kansas State. Situations right now, your 4-minute offense. Not necessarily trying to grind down the clock just yet the way you would to close out a game, but understanding you want to dominate possession for the remainder of the half with this full field in front of you.
Wildcats need 2 now, got to get it to the 22. Thompson out of the shotgun once again. He'll throw it. Pump fakes, now rolls to his right, looks for a block, rifles it downfield, it's caught. Boy, he is doing everything right here tonight.
Great job by Jabastin Taylor staying alive on the scramble drill. Skylar Thompson kind of caught between worlds there, a little bit indecisive as the play breaks down. Stays alive. Tyler Mitchell out in front of him as offensive lineman getting a chance, and then just being on the same page. And these are the things that come with time, that come with the reps of the summer, of understanding when it breaks down where to go and just get your eyes back to the quarterback if you're a wide receiver there for a big first down.
Sophomore out of Giddings, Texas is Taylor. And Thompson showing that he can literally do it all. Confidence just off the charts here tonight. Now this wheel route in the hands of Brown, and he'll take it near the 20.
Thompson standing in there under some pressure that time too. Free rusher, you see the corner, 24, Darren Evans firing off the edge. Thompson stands calmly, looks in the direction of the blitz, usually replace the blitzer. And you've got Jordan Brown screaming down the sideline, a little more opened up version of this ground and pound offense as we get under the 2-minute mark.
So impressed by these running backs, making catches, finding the holes. Pass protection's been seamless as well. Doing it all here. Now it's Gilbert. They'll fake it to him, toss it out to Brooks. Brooks gets about 6 yards as Kansas State once again is threatening. Well, they needed some kind of an identity. They're certainly finding that here.
Absolutely, and I think it is this multiple nature. I'm glad they're staying with this spread. Get a look, get your receivers involved down in the red zone. You're going to need this eventually. Use this as practice time.
Second down.
And that's the one thing, again, teachable moments now. We're at 1:30. This is your 2-minute offense, and so the #1 killer of drives is procedure penalties. That's a great teachable moment for them when they get back to the sideline after they overcome this.
Run it one more time. It's Gilbert. He'll get it near the 20-yard line. Larion James makes the stop. Watching Skylar Thompson at work for Kansas State. Great junior quarterback. There you see his quarterback's coach, Colin Klein, one of the very few kept over from that
Kansas State.
coaching staff
This is their first
a
charge
season
timeout of the
ago. A
half.
great player once here
30-second timeout.
in Manhattan, and he has been an outstanding coach as well. I think it was huge, Mike, that they were able to keep him on the staff.
Chris Kleiman
This
said,
is their second charge timeout of the half.
as K-State down to one timeout, Coach Kleiman said he was the first guy I met with when I got to Kansas State. He was the first guy I went out recruiting with. He's done this before. He's been a part of doing this at a high level. Colin was the quarterback. My senior year at Notre Dame, 2012, when we were in the midst of an undefeated season, I was watching his Heisman season, and I remember what a battering ram he was. Big, 6'5", 240-pound quarterback, running Coach Snyder's, quarterback power-driven offense. And bringing that mentality, having that ability to say, hey, when I was in your shoes as the Kansas State quarterback, when we were here, this is what we did. It's such an invaluable tool for Skylar Thompson to be able to use going into his third full-time year now as a fully entrenched starter.
3rd down and 6 now. Jordan Brown splits out wide. Thompson, empty backfield for Kansas State. He'll loft this one to the corner. He's got a man out there, and it is caught. Schoen makes the grab for the touchdown.
I don't care if it's FCS, FBS, BCS. You get a tight cover corner like that and a tight window and you lay it up there for Dalton Schoen, a great 50-50 ball receiver. These coaches rave about his ability in these situations. And you see it right here. Let's see if he gets control, takes it to the ground. You see his back hit in bounds there, but the question's going to be, does he maintain possession as he's going to the ground?
See if this play gets one more look. A little hesitation here for the kicking unit. Meanwhile, Schoen soaking it all in. 18 yards per catch in his Kansas State career. And that is why he is so valuable.
Again, right here, you see comes in, hits him right in the chest. His 6th career touchdown right there. For my money in these situations, the call on the field was touchdown. You'd need indisputable video evidence, that term we hear all the time. You wonder, this would be the angle right here. I don't think there's enough movement of the ball you can see.
Of a completed pass for a touchdown is under further review.
Inside of 2 minutes, you review the scoring play, understandable, but I don't think there's going to be enough to overturn that based on what we've seen now through every angle of that replay.
Kevin Johnson, the man in coverage for Nicholls. You mentioned something about you don't care what level this is. You're absolutely right. I mean, Thompson just been dropping dimes and tight windows here tonight. All but a couple drops by Malik Knowles, and those are certainly correctable. And that's been the only errors by this offense for Kansas State. Here's another look at the catch by Schoen.
Yep, you see it right here again. Ball going directly into his chest. Looks like he's got it trapped against there. The defender's hands are right in there the entire time. Back hits clearly in bounds. You see that little movement there at the end. I'm sure that's what they're going to be looking for. Is that enough to say he didn't have control as he slid out of bounds? That angle right there, you can't tell. It's really that one from before where you can see behind. Here's it in real time, though. Hell, for Dalton Schoen, he's not used to touchdowns that short. A 20-yarder, he averages 45.8 yards a touchdown grab on his first 5. That 20-yarder is going to bring down the average if it holds.
So again, the ruling on the field, touchdown. Officiating crew to the salam. Getting a few looks here. No matter what, Kansas State can have a sizable lead at intermission. Question is, by how much?
Well, and the how is just as important as the how much, right? We've seen so much ground and pound for them in these areas of the field. We've seen Skylar Thompson create on broken down plays with his legs. And I'm sure what Coach Messingham and the staff want to see going into the half is, all right, we get down into the red area. Now can we pass in tight quarters? When the decisions are a little more vital, when the quite frankly, ability for a catastrophic mistake can be much more dire. Do we have the ability? And that time there, you saw another tight window throw, kind of like the one to Nicholls in the other end zone that we saw earlier that was right at the edge of his fingertips that ultimately he couldn't haul in.
You know what I think is so impressive? All the great plays we're watching tonight from Kansas State. Remember, this team had maybe 20 practices over summer camp, maybe 15 spring practices. Not had a lot of time in this new system, and it looks absolutely seamless.
And it's a reminder that the best offenses make the very simple appear complicated.
Usually when it takes this long on a review, Mike, that means we could have a reversal here.
And we saw the one angle, the ball jostled just enough at the end of the play, trapped against his chest, where maybe they've got room to say, all right, they've got clear enough video evidence to overturn this one. And again, I'm telling you, not bringing down Dalton Schoen's average. A great play on the other side by the defenders. Stay with it the entire way, though. We should note that if this is overturned, we've now seen near both end zones great hustle plays from this Nicholls secondary, who made their second straight FCS playoff appearance, made it into round 2 on the same side of the bracket as Coach Kleiman's North Dakota State team.
And certainly going to be a force to be reckoned with this season, ranked 11th in the first FCS coaches preseason poll. And here's our official call.
After review, when the receiver hit the ground, he did not maintain firm control of the ball. Therefore, it's an incomplete pass. The ball will be placed at the 20-yard line, 4th down.
Hard to see the look from here, but again, going down to the ground, and right there you see his hand have to readjust just enough. This should be the angle right here where you can really see.
Right there, clearly a little bit of jiggling going on with that football.
Kevin Johnson getting a hand up just in time. Now get a look at the kicking game.
So 37-yard attempt on the way from Blake Lynch, and this one's no good. So call it a win for the Nicholls defense, and now they'll get the ball back with just under a minute to make something positive happen. Take a look around the Big 12 on this opening weekend of college football. I know one team was in a duel tonight talking about Iowa State eventually escaping in 3 overtimes. You were watching that game before we made our way to the stadium. Oklahoma State too, impressive as well.
Coming out last night, the battle of the OSUs, a lot of similar colors on the field and similar letters in the scoring column, but Oklahoma State looked the part last night. Chuba Hubbard, monster game on the ground for them.
Surprising here that Nicholls going to try and keep it on the ground. You would think maybe the Colonels trying to take a few shots here to try and quickly get it downfield. And, you know, no matter how good things are going, sometimes there's always the kicking game.
And for the most part, you give them credit. What do we see all through college football and the NFL? Early in the season, special teams suffers. There's just even fewer reps in those 15, 20 practices you have between spring and fall to get all those things right. It's been a penalty-free game in special teams for Kansas State. Unfortunate miss in that instance. Got to have the coaches something to correct.
Run it again on 2nd and 8, and Nicholls just wants to get to the locker room here and talk about things. Definitely not the first half that they saw coming, but on the other side, Kansas State could not have opened the Chris Kleiman error any stronger.
The end of the 2nd quarter.
And they'll get a huge ovation and roar from this sold-out crowd here in Manhattan. 28-0 with a touchdown wiped off the board. Keep in mind, Wildcats rolling. Halftime festivities coming up in just a moment. Welcome back to the Big 12 now on ESPN Plus as the Nicholls Colonels take on the Kansas State Wildcats. Alongside the former Notre Dame linebacker Mike Golick Jr., I'm Drew Felios. So far, it has been Kansas State domination from the opening minute until the final buzzer to send the teams to halftime. And Nicholls in the second half. What can they do, Mike, to just show some signs of life here in week 1?
listen, you're down 4 scores right now. You're not going to make it up in one drive. So I'd get out there and run your base offense. Run the things that have made you so successful under Tim Rebowe, improving your win total every year, back-to-back FCS playoff appearances. You have a good team. You have a quarterback in Chase Forcade who's one of the best in FCS football, the program's all-time leading passing yards. Let him go out there and operate the offense you know how to run.
Ty Zettner puts this one in the air for the Wildcats. It'll be a touchback. See if Forcade can work some kind of magic. I had a chance to see him last year in the FCS postseason. They took it to San Diego that night in Thibodaux, one of the real fun environments in FCS football. Talk about small towns now, but tons of character, tons of pride. You talk about tough football players in that region. Well, I'll tell you what.
That region that they take very seriously, 117 players on that roster, 111 are from the state of Louisiana. They have made it a point. We are going to recruit this talent-rich area. We're going to get guys to stay here and be great players for us, and it's worked very well.
Pitch it on first down. Kendall Bussey. Short pickup for Nicholls. As right there was Reggie Walker. Keep in mind tonight, Dontrell Taylor, who is maybe their best running back, was a game-time decision. Knee was not 100%. We have not seen him, and that could be one of the big reasons Nicholls State has not really been able to get that ground game going.
On both sides of the ball, they've been down great players, and unfortunately you come into an environment with a revitalized team that's both talented and experienced. It's a recipe for trouble.
2nd and 8 now for Forcade. Have to pick up the blitz as McPherson comes after him. Forcade gets out of trouble and throws one, and it's caught at the 45-yard line. That is a nice catch made by Stefano Gorisco, the senior out of Berwick, Louisiana.
Great job by Forcade dodging pressure, and McPherson's going to hear an earful about that. When you're the edge blitzer, your job is to go for the upfield hip of the quarterback. That time, dips underneath, takes a chance, and misses, and it's a big play on the opening drive of the second half.
Fake the jet sweep. Forcade now tries to cut it upfield. Tough doing with Trey Deshawn right there to make the stop. Keep in mind, this Nicholls offense averaged 32 a game last year.
If you're wondering why Chase Forcade doesn't look phased, it's because he made his first collegiate start on the road against number 9 Georgia. So forgive him if he's not overly concerned with the circumstances, the bright lights, or the atmosphere. This is a quarterback who's played a lot of big-time football for Nicholls.
That was the game where Nicholls really proved to themselves they could hang with the big boys. Although they have been steamrolled so far here tonight. Forcade, short throw over the middle, it's got Dixon, and now he can cut it upfield. Nicely done as he gets inside the 30-yard line and down to the 26, pushed out there by Walter Neal Jr. It'll be a first round, and Nicholls finally in business.
And you see Forcade, who we mentioned, not afraid of those moments. Dejon Dixon, who physical skill set wise is up there with any Division I receiver. Great job by the offensive line picking up that blitz there. That's a group that's replacing 4 starters from last year. So you talk about the ability to come out and already be adjusting in the second half to what you've seen from a group that's pretty green up front.
Best drive for Nicholls here tonight. They're going to go to the ground game, a hole up the middle, and there goes Bussey to the 5, and he is in. The Colonels finally on the board here in Manhattan.
That is what we in the biz like to call an answer. That is a statement drive coming out of the second half. And again, there's no frills to this offense. This is a zone run. That's clearing space up the middle. And then Bussey, when he gets in the open field, a running back seeing a defender with a two-way go 20 yards down the field. Good night.
So the Texas A&M transfer able to get Nicholls on the scoreboard. Gunnar Jones with the extra point, and it's 28-7. Okay, something positive right out of the locker room as Bussey goes to work. He's into the paint for Nicholls here in Manhattan. Well, it took Chase Forcade and the Nicholls offense a few hours to wake up here in Manhattan, but they finally have points.
Better late than never is what you'd say, and that's all you can do is control situations. You come out in the second half, and we always say the score is 0-0, but it's hard to go out and treat it that way. And instead what you get is a drive where Kansas State defensively took some chances, sent some blitzers. And what did Chase Forkay do? Calmly responds and then bussy down Tatiana, getting into the end zone.
5-play drive. Nicholls now to kick it off. Up until that point, it had been all Kansas State. Ball taken at the 5-yard line. This is Brooks again. Across the 20, 25, and he'll take it to the 29-yard line. Kansas State will start right there here in their second half series. Let's take a look at the score.
Again, you see here, this is an inside zone play. You get 2 double teams on the inside there, and no linebacker there to fill the gap. Wayne Jones staring there in wide open space, and then Bussey gets into the open field. There isn't a lot of flash. We see so much multiple formation situations from Kansas State. Not the case on the other side, and you saw execution just win.
Skylar Thompson, Kansas State offense back on the field. First down, 28-yard line. Go to 34 to start. James Gilbert, he runs into a wall at the line of scrimmage and maybe picks up 1.
Now let's see if there's adjustments defensively for a base 3-down defense. Nicholls will show some bear look, covering up the inside 3 offensive linemen with defensive players near the goal line, maybe as they see more of these looks. Now in the second half, going to take away what's been darn near 7 yards a rush from Kansas State.
19 first downs next to 5 for Nicholls. Kansas State has simply had the ball the bulk of the night. It's Thompson now on 2nd down and 9. He'll look to his left, waiting. Now gets to the outside. Finally throws it towards the sideline. He's got a man, and it's Malik Knowles, who has had some struggles tonight hanging on to it. He squeezes that one for a first down.
Great to see him get back into the mix. Quick passes to start the game. Thompson breaking contain, and Knowles coming back to the football. We see this with young players all the time, especially in contested catches, coming back and attacking the football when your quarterback's on the move.
First down for the Wildcats, handed off to Gilbert. That running game devastating all night long. Stibe got there first for Nicholls. I mean, the type of night we're seeing from Skylar Thompson here tonight. I'll tell you what, there's great quarterback play in this Big 12 conference. Last 2 Heisman winners have come from this conference.
Absolutely, and we've seen some transfers. Alex Delton at TCU now, a Kansas State familiar face, but being able to go into the season without the threat of, all right, if I make a bad pass here, if I make a bad decision, am I going to get pulled? Is my backup coming in? Being able to play freely, we're seeing the benefits for him so far, and we're going to need more as Nicholls loads up the box. They're going to have to air it out.
Thompson back to throw, sets his feet. He'll rifle this one downfield, looking for the home run. Oh, Schoen. Ball was right through his hands. Looked like he was going to go over the shoulder with it, but it falls incomplete.
Oh, absolutely going to be sick. That's probably 3 legitimate touchdown catch drops. Might have gotten walked on that one, but Delton's putting the ball in great spots. Encouraging for him. We talked about these young receivers needing to see the ball get in their hands. Schoen's a big play guy. You need a couple of those. Had the touchdown called back earlier. Got to get him a shot before the game's over.
So 3rd down for Skylar Thompson and Kansas State. Bunch formation to the left. Thompson, plenty of time to throw. Dumps this one off over the middle, and it'll be another first down for the Wildcats. That's Weber, the sophomore wide receiver, with his first catch tonight.
And for all the break and contain we've seen, identifying there, he's got a 3-man rush. He's got 2 double teams on the line. He's got plenty of time to survey the field. You had the bunch to the left side. Your left side, which by the way is protected again by Scott France. We saw go off the field at the end of the first half. Back out there now, encouraging for the Wildcats.
Coach Kleiman wanted Skylar Thompson when he was at North Dakota State. Couldn't get him. Skylar wound up coming here to Manhattan, and there's France back in the game for the Wildcats after coming off the field very gingerly at the end of the first half. Great to see him back in this game. You know, with as many straight starts as he had, it's going to take a lot more to keep him out.
It's always amazing hearing guys that are part of those streaks. Joe Thomas, famously, 10,000 plus snaps in the NFL. Heard him talking on a podcast with one of our colleagues, Eric Wood, over at the ACC Network.
From the Nicholls 44-yard line, it's 1st and 10.
Issue with the change there, but talking about all the luck, all the preparation that goes into making these kind of start streaks happen.
21-point lead for Kansas State, looking to add to it here with a first down at the 45-yard line. I'll tell you what, this James Gilbert, he can take a hit, just keeps those legs moving to the 39-yard line this time. I've been so impressed by the way he has been able to just surge forward. 7 touchdowns last season.
First team All-MAC back in 2016 at Ball State. An experienced back, and that's why they've had the luxury, even coming out of camp, when you bring back no rushing yards from your running back room the year before, veteran players have the ability to pick things up. Most schemes are similar concept, just a different language, and the ability to pick that up quick has paid huge dividends for them.
2nd and 5 now. Gilbert trying to surge ahead. He'll have another first down for the Wildcats. I mean, Mike, you know, you played at Notre Dame. There are some fabulous football players at the FCS levels, at the mid-major levels, that if given an opportunity can shine in conferences like the Big 12.
Oh, absolutely, and when you've got a group in front that you trust, when you're running behind a Scott France who's played that much football, who you can say, all right, when I see his hat go to the outside, I know he's going to ride that guy on that angle, that same place we need, and I can make my cut accordingly. Developing that relationship with as much running as they've done over the course of the season is only going to produce better runs.
Another first down for Kansas State. They're just racking up the first downs tonight. Ball control has just been awesome. Down the middle now, looking for the end zone. A little bit overthrown. That's the one pass where Thompson has been off. Malik Knowles was the intended target.
We'll see a lot more of that now, though. You're seeing 7-man boxes. You're seeing guys up on the line of scrimmage really trying to take away that run threat, and so you're getting Knowles right in isolation. The offensive line here, 5-on-5. That's what the defense wants. Create one-on-ones and get somebody to win. The problem is you've got everyone getting cuffs put on them by an offensive line coached by Connor Riley that really has already come out in game 1 and I think shown well for themselves.
Second down. Toss it out right now. Let Weber get his hands on it once more, and he'll take it to the 25. More positive yardage for Kansas State.
And this again, the area of the field where Kansas State stalled at the end of the first half. A chance to come down here and make some corrections from that drive. Let's see if they stick with a little more of that wide open passing attack. Now that Nicholls has made it clear, if you put 2 tight ends on the field, if you throw fullback in there, we're going to put 7 and 8 guys in the box as they now line up on 3rd and 3.
Look at the third down story tonight, 6 of 7. That is such a huge stat in college football. Brooks in motion. Instead, it's Thompson calling his own number, and he's going to be right at the first down marker. So going to depend on the spot here. Looks like he's got it. They will move the chains. It'll be first down for Kansas State.
Quarterback runs another area where the how in this offense matters. QB power has been something Kansas State fans have been watching for years under Bill Snyder. Colin Klein, their quarterback coach, knows a lot about hammer meets nail quarterback power. But you're seeing the motion, you're seeing the misdirection. As they're going to take a look and see if he had the yardage to gain on that. I'd imagine even if he didn't, there's an easy 4th down call decision coming from Coach Kleiman. But the how in that, when you add things like a fly motion on that play, when you add pullers in those situations, when you add a read option element to all those, instead of just lining up and making your quarterback the feature back, you get options like this. So the motion man comes here, you're faking counter action to the right, the whole defense is going that way. Linebacker overruns it, and he gets up there. You can see that knee might have hit.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be short.
Sure.
First 4th down opportunity of the game, I believe, will be coming up for Kansas State after they more than likely reverse this.
Had a chance earlier on tonight to talk with Kansas State Athletic Director Gene Taylor. He paid us a visit here in the booth. Some butterflies there after hiring Coach Kleiman. Of course, that's his call, and as an athletic director, you make a big hire like that, and your fate depends on it, and I think he made the right call. We're seeing that so far in this game.
The guy he hired twice before he went over. Gene Taylor was at North Dakota State.
Yeah.
Hired Coach Kleiman there and then left to go be the deputy athletic director at Iowa, and watch North Dakota State come and beat that Iowa team and think, all right, maybe I did too good a job at North Dakota State, but had the chance. And we talked to Coach Kleiman, and he said, I knew what I was getting with Gene Taylor. There was some familiarity. And Gene said to him, I'm not going to give you this job. You're going to go and earn it. And we've seen since he arrived here, I mean, he was having some of these first meetings with the kids on this team during the FCF playoffs, juggling all that, where, oh, by the way, adds another national title to the resume.
Here's the play we're looking at. Thompson had to get it to the 22. The knee is down right there,
and you can
at
see
about
the
the
ball.
23.
Yep, the ball a yard short there, clearly when the knee is down.
It will be 4th down at the 23-yard line.
So, Mike, you're up 3 touchdowns. Do you go for this? Do you try and kick the field goal? Your kicking game has struggled a little bit tonight.
Easy situation to go for, and I would be shocked if there is not a fullback on the field. Their short yardage tends to be what we've seen a lot of tonight. Fullback on the field, Puller and him going into the same gap, clear out space, and let your running back fall forward for an easy couple of yards.
Meanwhile, a little Bon Jovi music here in Manhattan. We've seen a good mix of that in the pregame and at halftime for sure.
Everyone's got this loose feeling. That was what they wanted to do. This is a modern college football environment. And I think it's going to make for a continually great atmosphere here. Not like they've ever struggled there.
4th down and short. And there is that fullback, Barta. Run the ball straight ahead. And into a wall. That's going to be short. Nicholls going to come up with the stop. And that was Aquindus Stibe getting in there. Also, it was Gansey, big number 98.
They were really excited. Gansey, a true freshman, 3-time high school state wrestling champion, getting up there and getting into the backfield, making plays. And this is why I'm surprised they didn't go with one of those gap scheme runs where you see block downs, where you see pullers and fullbacks, giving them the opportunity. And Nicholls fired up after that stop. They held him to a field goal at the end of the second half. They hold him to a turnover on downs here.
So big stop right there for the team from Thibodaux, Louisiana. Forcade and the Colonel's offense back on the field. 1st down from the 23. Trying to run it left, and the Wildcats just not having it. And number 3 there to make the stop, Elijah Sullivan, the junior out of Tucker, Georgia. Well, there's a great way, a new way to access the Big 12. It's Big 12 now on ESPN Plus. Next Saturday, Les Miles in Kansas host Coastal Carolina. Then Mike Gundy and Oklahoma State take on McNeese. Both games available 7 Eastern, 6 Central to watch these games, plus a lot more. Sign up today, ESPNplus.com. Forcade keeps it. He'll rifle it downfield. He's got his man just in front of the 40-yard line, and Chase is starting to heat up.
And we saw Forcade on a similar rollout situation the first play of the game, throw an interception. That time fits it into a tight window. He got comfortable on that first drive coming out of the second half. The last thing you want to do if you're Kansas State is get into a position where they gain confidence. I'm sending 4 again. You got in trouble blitzing on that last drive. Give your coverage some help. Let your front 4 go to work. Let Wyatt Hubert eat.
Wishbone formation now for Nicholls. 3 wideouts, Forcade to throw again. Pressure comes, he eludes it, bobbled around and incomplete. You see the poise in the pocket though from Chase Forcade, looking for Dixon.
But again, you see that pressure, 4-down pressure, and give them the ability to cover. Great strength, great ability to work there. Hits Dejon Dixon right in the hands. But you got Walter Neal all over him. And I'd imagine as we get to 2nd and long here now, you're going to see more of the same.
Chase Forcade, a fixture at the Manning Passing Academy every summer. He is a football junkie, to say the least. 2nd down now. 4 wideouts. Rush comes again. Forcade panics just a bit and can't do anything with it. Daquan Patton able to take him down. No gain.
You can tell Scotty Hazelton's getting a little antsy. Played a lot of coverage in the first half. He wants to let it fly a little bit, as now you see Bronson Massey and that NASCAR team coming onto the field. I have a feeling you're going to see him heat him up a little bit here.
You know, we've talked a lot about Kansas State's offensive line. Nicholls' offensive line very much in rebuilding mode.
Absolutely. You got a converted tight end and David Mosley playing right guard.
Just swing it out, try and get what you can this time. Nice job making one miss by Bussey. And he takes it up beyond the 45-yard line. It's going to be about 3 yards shy. Now, Mike, you're still on your side of the field, but if you're Nicholls, heck, what have you got to lose here?
Well, if you're Nicholls, you're looking and saying we're only down 3 scores, and your offense has been able to move the ball, and so you'll play field position here and give your defense a chance.
That's why I'm not a coach. Winston Jones with Brooks to receive it for Kansas State.
Don't worry, 4K agreed with you. You saw him, looked like he was heated coming off the sideline after that failed conversion.
Another low kick. Brooks going to let it bounce. This is going to be a good play for Nicholls. It'll roll inside the 5-yard line. It does end up being a great play for the Colonels. So we'll step aside. 3-touchdown lead by Kansas State, but Nicholls a little momentum here in the third quarter. Next Saturday, Big 12 Now on ESPN Plus features Les Miles and the Kansas Jayhawks hosting Coastal Carolina. Mike Gundy and Oklahoma State battle McNeese. Both games available at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central to watch these games, plus a lot more on the Big 12 Conference. Sign up today, ESPNplus.com. Chase Forcade wanted another crack at that Kansas State defense. Nicholls got a little momentum here in the third quarter. Kansas State backed up here to their own 3-yard line. They'll try and run it out of there with the Colonels trying to hold them back here. And Kevin Moore, the third, able to get into the backfield. Be a short pickup of about 3 for Kansas State. Offense has been so productive, to say the least. Tonight, a missed field goal on that 5th drive, and then a turnover on downs being stopped on 4th.
Yeah, the last drive of the first half and then the first drive of the second half. It's the exact situation you don't want as a coach. Go strong in and out of halftime. Now they've got a chance to make that up here on this drive.
Run the ball with Brown. Colonels a chance to get off the field here. It'll be 3rd and short for Kansas State.
And I'd expect another downhill run here. Try and move the sticks and get yourself a fresh set of downs. Get out of the shadow of your own end zone. But from there, let's open it up. You're at a point now where this game is starting to get a little uncomfortable. Not 5-alarm, but mildly uncomfortable. Throw it on first down a bit. Loosen up this defense. They're being allowed to tee off and load the box because it's become a little bit predictable on early downs for K-State.
So 3rd down, Thompson out of the shotgun, shown in motion, and they run it. And again, all of a sudden, Nicholls very, very stout up the middle, Mike. And the referee's going to mark it and say he did pick up the first down. I think they got a favorable spot that time.
Seemed like he had the distance, but had to earn every bit of it. We talked about Alan Pittman, the heart of this defense, the middle of this defense. Brandon Fontenot, a guy who's played a lot of football for them. Honorable mention, All-Southland Conference last year. This has got to be a team right now in K-State that mixes up their play calling a little bit on these early downs.
Nicholls not been able to force a turnover tonight. Skylar Thompson been so sure-handed under center. Rolls out this time off play action, looks downfield, and the comebacker is complete. Say it is caught by Schoen, who had it dropped the last time they threw it to him, and it'll be a first down.
Perfect play call we talked about. You're under center, you move the pocket off some run action that's worked for you all night, and then Schoen, the veteran's able to get 1 foot down in bounds, all you need in college. And now you got a fresh set of downs, and you've got a defense that's forced to think a bit.
Schoen over 1,000 career yards tonight for the Wildcats. In motion is Lenners. Here's Gilbert again, trying to get to the outside. And he's going to pick up about 8. Christian Mims eventually pushes him out. You know, watching Kansas State tonight offensively, Mike, I don't really see that one big home run threat. I think they're going to try and nickel and dime people to death this year under this new offense.
Absolutely, and I think Malik Knowles can become that. We've seen them give him some chances. but he's had a few drops. He's had a few miscues. He's done really well in these short area throws, the confidence builders that you want. It's going to take some time to develop, and thankfully, I think that's what Kansas State's going to have against Bowling Green next week until they start going on the road to Mississippi State and Oregon or Oklahoma State.
Absolutely. Play action again. Thompson dumps it off. Wide open is Lenners. First touch tonight for the big tight end out of Lincoln, Nebraska. He gets it near midfield for a first down.
Lenners, who had a season-ending injury against San Diego State and had a medical hardship last year, back on the field now, and this is the big part of this offense is all of those tight ends, those fullbacks that we talked about, have to have that ability because it doesn't work if you have to be in 12 personnel with 2 tight ends, 21 with a fullback in there, and they can't be viable pass catchers. You can't move the pocket like that. That's what makes this offense tick.
Said Lenners is ready to do the dirty work this year. Courtney Messingham loves what he brings to the field. Just such a hard worker. Now it's back to Trotter. He'll try and get to the outside. He's going to be ridden down by Pittman as he gets it just across midfield.
And they haven't shown much of it tonight, but in the future, we've seen from Courtney Messingham in this offense when it was at North Dakota State, they've got some pin and pull action. They've got some stuff to let their linemen get out on the edges as you see the defense from Nicholls crashing down. Stipe, these other guys really working hard to take away counter, cancel out some of these gaps on the backside, and force the player to bounce so that their defense can chase them down from the backside like we saw there.
Second down and 8. See the press coverage bottom of your screen. I'll toss it out there, and Brooks like to get it to him in space, but sure tacklers in the secondary for Nicholls as Johnson made the stop that time. So another long drive here for Kansas State, a 3rd down and 5. They're yet to produce points here in this 3rd quarter with it winding down. About 20 seconds now left to play in the quarter.
7-9 on 3rd down all day. They'll have an answer. Knowles down here in isolation by himself. You've got the bunch up there. I'd be shocked if they didn't go back to 4 here.
Thompson has his man out there. It's Brooks. Ridden out of bounds by Alonzo Creighton. First down, Kansas State.
I'm shocked but not surprised. That's how I'll save my face in this situation.
This is the end of the 3rd quarter.
After 3 quarters, team from Thibodeau showing a little life. Nicholls finally wakes up. They still trail by 3 scores. Festive night at Bill Snyder Family Stadium, 20-7. Kansas State leading Nicholls. Drew Felios, Mike Golick Jr. After being dominated in the first half, Nicholls wins the 3rd quarter. Kansas State, though, driving here on 1st down and 10. Thompson, another rollout, rifles it downfield. The open man is shown, and he's got a touchdown.
What do we say going into the drive? Needed to start mixing plays on 1st down. They get out of the shadow of their own end zone. They throw for a big 1st down to Schoen. Now we get into the 4th quarter. The 4s are up for everybody. And we see a great haul here. Play action fake to the left, and then a great double move by Schoen on the outside. Fakes the out, goes up. Nothing but daylight in front of him. Jarius Moore, the true freshman, in chase. And another big play from Dalton Schoen, a guy who is no stranger.
Another extra point for Blake Lynch. Well, how about the arm and the night for Skylar Thompson? It is Skylar Thompson's night. The junior quarterback shining under the bright lights here in Manhattan. Near flawless execution tonight by Skylar Thompson and this Kansas State offense. How does Schoen get so wide open on that last touchdown play?
Well, I said more play calling like this, more passing on 1st down, a great run fake here to the left, and then watch right at the 25, Schoen hits him with the stutter go, chops his feet, turns back upfield, and has nothing but green grass in front of him. actually time to stop and go back and get the ball. Great call in that situation as you cross over onto the right side of the 50 for Kansas State.
Nicholls has been caught on that comebacker all night long, so they thought they were going to the well again, and then just like that, you get beat deep.
That's what this offense does so well, is it sets it up constantly throughout the course of the game right now, and they do it from so many different formations that the minute you think, all right, I have a beat on what they're doing with a fullback on the field, I've got a beat on what they're doing when we've got the full house backfield, two backs back there, all of a sudden it doesn't work. And Skylar Thompson is truly, in a multiple offense, the straw that stirs the drink. We've seen him make plays, breaking out with his feet, rolling to the right and left, and on that play just placing a great ball to an open receiver.
He's had about 4 balls dropped tonight as well. Pressure coming this time at Fort Cade. He's got to unload it quick. And the ball's going to be incomplete near the 40-yard line. Fort Cade took a shot.
Let me tell you what, Brandon Massey, number 90, coming off the edge right there. Great hands. He's a guy that I think is really going to start to see more time over the course of this year. 6'4", 245, long athlete, really smooth with his hands, gets on edges. Not quite as thick and twitchy as Wyatt Hubert, but a guy I think that's in line for much more playing time in his junior season.
Bronson Massey making it happen coming off the edge. Now back to the ground for Nicholls. Ball comes out, and it winds up in the hands of the Wildcats. This is Jonathan Alexander scoring.
Say goodnight, Kevin. A defensive score in a game like that where you'd finally gotten it rolling a bit in the second half on offense for Nicholls. Just a crushing blow in the scrum. And that's just a great job by Alexander, being the second guy to the pile and going to rip for the ball. That time Drew Wiley clogging up the middle, and you saw the arm over, guys getting in the backfield and holding him up. And the second guy, from college on through the NFL, you're taught, come in and be ready to try and strip.
You saw Kansas State answering the challenge. Nicholls had some momentum there midway through the third quarter, and the Wildcats saying, not in our house and not tonight. I'm going to review this, but it looked like a clean strip from Alexander. Oh, yeah.
You wonder if they're reviewing to maybe see if progress was stopped, but you didn't hear a whistle, and so I can't imagine there's any way this gets overturned.
And the touchdown will stand. Sends Lynch back on the field for Kansas State. So the first defensive score of the night for the Wildcats. And the score now 42-7. Kansas State rolling
Out on the field
on opening night of 2019 here in Manhattan. Well, the first episodes of Miles to Go now available on Big 12 Now on ESPN+. The All-Access series chronicling the first season of new Kansas head coach Les Miles. A new episode available each week throughout the season. Miles to Go streaming exclusively on Big 12 Now on ESPNplus.com. You know, there's the turnover chain. There's the turnover backpack at Florida State, shamingly. And they've got, how about the sledgehammer whenever you get a score here at Kansas State.
It's hard not to feel powerful holding the hammer like that. Thor did it for a reason. Jonathan Alexander feeling the power, liking the results. We need a hammer in the booth. Have a great call and a touchdown. Go ahead and call the next series with a hammer.
Oh, as long as I'm not your partner, no problem.
Yeah, exactly. My luck, I'd break something up here. All this is worth more than my salary.
I'm telling you. For sure. How about Jonathan Alexander? The score for Kansas State, and still you see most of the starters in. A comfortable lead here, Mike, 35 points. And into the fourth quarter now, but looks like most of the starters going to stay on the field. And Fort Cade, of course, still in the game for Nicholls.
Absolutely. Nicholls still has plenty to play for out here, continuing to go out and get reps against a great Power 5 defense. This is not in their DNA. You don't become a great program by rolling over at any point.
Run the ball. Nice yardage. Kendall Bussey on first down. He's going to get it near the 45-yard line. So a good start here for Nicholls.
And it's a challenge to this Kansas State defense. Maintain your focus as we get into the fourth quarter. You got a fair amount of time left in the fourth quarter. You know Forcade on the other side still going to be slinging the ball all over the place. Can you stay assignment sound?
First down, 38-yard line. Colonels with Forcade. Tosses it over the middle, and this one is caught. That's the big wideout Dixon, who, when he's had a chance, has performed here tonight. And he'll have another first. We'll spot it at the 45 for the Colonels. A.J. Parker in coverage that time, junior, out of Bartlesville, Oklahoma. He's the best covered defensive back in purple here tonight.
Showed it on the first play that Nicholls had on offense, had the interception that really kick-started this party for Kansas State.
Run this ball one more time, and Nicholls will get it to the 42-yard line. I mentioned, Mike, how Kansas State has had limited practice time. Same thing for Nicholls. Coach Rebo telling us that the team has only practiced about 10 times on their actual practice field. The heavy rains, it's been underwater. Often they've had to practice on the turf, and there it's only about 110 degrees, so much less than ideal conditions.
Exactly, and for those guys to not bat an eye in those situations, to still go out and battle and accomplish what they do, is a testament to, again, the culture around this Nicholls football team as well.
No quit in this Colonel side at all. Forcade tosses it quickly, and it's incomplete. Was looking for Dion Ray, the senior out of New Orleans, but good coverage by Kevian McGee.
And we know Scotty Hazelton wants to challenge these guys, see if they can play man coverage and allow them to do some of the things blitz-wise they want to do. Again, from that Tampa 2 family, Scotty Hazelton, really, and Chris Kleiman running very similar elements. Hazelton was at Wyoming the last 2 years, and you see a lot of the same things from him, and that desire in these situations in third down to want to get after the quarterback. You need guys that can stick and play man to do that.
Forcade's got to call timeout here. This is the situation if you are Nicholls. You probably know at this point you're likely not going to win this game, but still you're building for the rest of the season. Every point critical here with the time remaining. Earlier this week, we asked Coach Tim Rebo about the challenge at hand here tonight, taking on Kansas State. He said, I don't care if we're playing Kansas State. I don't care if we're playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. Our players are confident that they can win. Obviously, that looks like probably not going to happen tonight, but still, Mike, tons to play for here the rest of the way.
And they're used to this. They've played an FBS opponent every year since 2005, and with the exception of 3 years, they've usually played 2, so this is a built-in part of coming to this school.
0 for 4 tonight on third down. Meanwhile, 8 of 10 on the other side. Forcade trying to get out of trouble. Look at the avalanche headed his way. Just throws it up for grabs. Nobody in the vicinity. Incomplete.
Great job of disguising pressure for Kansas State. Comes firing off that side, and their offensive line, give them credit, no sacks given up tonight.
There's no foul for intentional grounding. There was an eligible receiver in the area.
We're loosely defining in the area right now after that play, but a good job of Forcade just being able to evade pressure there. Again, for the most part, they had picked things up well. Now they get ready to go for it on fourth down.
What do you like here, Mike? Fourth down and 6. You obviously want to keep the ball, keep the chains moving here.
I think you'd move the pocket by design on this one, because now you're going to get their flavor. Double A gap pressure.
Here it comes. Forcade gets rid of it quickly and complete. Great coverage. That was McPherson again, who's been active. And that defense sensing it all night long.
It's been a fun tale of two sides for Kansas State, because on offense we've seen it's been a lot of their bread and butter based stuff with a heavy emphasis on the ground game. Defensively, when they've gotten into situations to play around a little bit, that double A gap blitz is their bread and butter. Fire 2 guys up the middle, loop an end around the inside is sort of, I think, the signature blitz for this defense under Scotty Hazelton. And they've been backing guys out, bringing pressure from the side, throwing a fair amount, putting a fair amount on tape for other teams that now have to contend.
Olympic sports, an important part of the Big 12 now on ESPN Plus schedule. K-State women's soccer underway. Volleyball also heating up soon. You can catch all the action this season on Big 12 now on ESPN Plus. Drew Felios, Mike Golick Jr. here tonight from the Little Apple. Kansas State trying to put the finishing touches on this one. And we do have a new quarterback in the game for the Wildcats. That's Nicholls, the sophomore out of Cimarron, Kansas.
And now you're going to see a healthy dose of 4-minute offenses. Backup center Noah Johnson, you're going to start to see those backup bodies start to get some time, and they're going to now go back to that bread and butter as that starting O-line getting a well-deserved rest after mauling up front tonight. Now you get into that 4-minute offense, churning and burning clock. It doesn't matter if 12 minutes is on the clock. This is a mentality and a strategy they want to make sure these guys are well-versed in.
Run it on 2nd down and 1. They'll have a first. Kansas State has moved the chains at will tonight. That's amazing. We talked to Coach Kleiman earlier this week. He talked all about using the words investment and trust and putting things in the hands of his players. The players have played nearly penalty-free here tonight. Had the one penalty on Franz that I can remember in the first half, the illegal block. But much outside of that, the players have played smart. They've played within themselves. It just seems like a different team here tonight than the one that finished a season ago.
Any great team is self-policed. It's built from the inside out, meaning the locker room controls the message. The locker room polices one another as they go through the course of off-season workouts, as they go through spring ball and fall camp. And that's built and was built when Coach Kleiman first got here. He met over Martin Luther King weekend with every player on the team individually. He said from 7 in the morning till 9 at night, he was meeting with players, trying to figure out what he can do for these guys, letting them know that he'd actually be ticked if they weren't coming by his office when they had a chance, coming and seeing, telling him what was going on, not just with their football lives, but their personal lives. And when your coach reaches out and is that willing to open himself up to you, it makes you want to go out and work that much harder.
2nd and 1 now. Alst will hand this one off, and it'll be another first down for Kansas State. You asked about that secret formula at North Dakota State. He said, hey, I don't have all the answers, but I do know when you trust your guys, when you show them you care, when you get to know about them and their families, young kids, it's just natural. They're going to play harder for you. That was the formula at North Dakota State, and we see that so often when we talk to coaches. Some coaches, not going to name any, just mention kids like their numbers. Others know these kids personally, and that's a huge difference.
That investment matters, and it's a great point. No matter what level you're at, winning is winning. We've seen the top programs in college football having Coach Kleiman come out to their coaching clinics and speak. How about this? Back a couple years ago, 2015 or 16, Clemson and Dabo Swinney asked him to come out. Later that year, they lose to Alabama in the national title. The year later, they win it. The next year, Georgia, Kirby Smart.
Yep.
Coach Kleiman, come talk at our coaching clinic. Go to the SEC title, appear in the national championship that year. Last offseason, Brian Kelly, South Bend, Indiana, Notre Dame. Coach Kleiman, come speak at our coaching clinic. Notre Dame has their first appearance in the college football playoff. Getting around other coaches that are like-minded and comparing notes makes everyone better, and he's a guy that improves every situation he touches.
Well said. 2nd and 7. Nick Alst now under center. Turn around, hand it off again. The Wildcats still able to move the chains here. I'll tell you what, if you're a Kansas State fan, I know that competition's going to get a lot tougher than it is tonight. You have got to be excited after watching the last 3 hours of football from your Wildcats, because they have really shown like this is definitely a new era, and players are playing with new purpose.
And they're executing. Week 1, you do not usually see execution this clean, and there'll be stuff to pick up. But I'll never forget Notre Dame my senior year. We went and played Navy in Ireland, ran for darn near 300 yards, thought like we were on top of the world. We went into our meeting the next day as an offensive line and walked out, and I thought, what are we ever going to do if we lose? The tongue lashing we got from our offensive line coach was a reminder that even in a win, if you're not going out there and executing the right way, you're going to be held accountable, and that's the accountability that creates performances like this.
Tyler Burns, junior running back out of Wichita, gets it close to the goal line for the Wildcats. It'll be 1st and goal from the 1, and I think Burns likely going to get the carry here to finish this drive off. He has done great work on this drive.
And again, you're seeing more of the same. Just a distorted counter look there. Burns getting on the edge. And this will fire Coach up, the second unit going out there and performing. Cold all night, coming in and executing.
Oh, high snap this time. Alce reaches up to get it. And the defense will snow him, and after that, Alan Pittman comes in the backfield, makes the stop.
Right on cue. We give him some love, and a snap goes high. No, that's a hard thing to do as a center, and that's the first thing you worry about when you're warming up on the sideline, getting ready to come in late, making sure you have that center quarterback exchange. It's those little things, especially down here in the low red. You'd hate to do all this good work and then not cash in and hit pay dirt.
Red zone scoring last season, pretty good, 78%.
From the 2-yard line, it's 2nd and goal, K-State.
42-7. Wildcats leading it. Trying to extend their lead here. Hand it off to Burns again. He'll stick his nose in there and get it right to the goal line once more. About a foot away.
The ruling on the field is that the runner will stop short of the goal line. Third down.
May take another look at this one.
I think he's going to be short, and I don't think there are going to be any frills to this next play call. You saw offensive linemen pulling around. You saw fullback leading through. That's their goal line bread and butter, and that's, again, what we're seeing with these backups right now. You're going to run the base level plays. You haven't been getting a lot of reps, quite frankly, as this backup group, as camp has gone on, and you've been getting ready for this game.
Burns is tired. You can see in the backfield huffing and puffing right now for the Wildcats. See if Alce tries to take this one himself. No, he'll hand it off to 33, and he drags a tackler into the end zone.
And a great cap to a great drive. Then I actually have to correct myself on a point. As you see Burns here churning his legs. Again, we're throwing bodies. It's student body right. And he leans over there. You could say part of the reason this second group does go out and execute so well is because Coach Kleiman told us they split the reps in practice. They split the field. The ones are operating down on one end of the field practicing. The twos are down on the other getting reps. And so guys come in situations like this, and they are used to seeing a little bit more practice action.
Tyler Burns with the score, little brother of Morgan Burns. Very proud moment there for the Burns family. Well, it's been a great night here for Kansas State fans in Manhattan. First game with 300+ yards rushing since the Cactus Bowl against UCLA back in 2017. They've owned the ground game. And Skylar Thompson, what a night throwing the football for him. Again, 16 of 22, but had about 4 drops. That percentage should be way up there.
And the production should be way up. Some of those were on some big, deep passes. But efficient night for him. Made plays with his feet, especially down in the red zone. A great week 1 performance to build on.
Well, there's a great new way to access the Big 12. Big 12 now on ESPN+. Next Saturday, Les Miles in Kansas hosts Coastal Carolina, and then Mike Gundy and Oklahoma State will host McNeese. Both games available 7 Eastern, 6 Central. To watch these games plus a lot more around the Big 12, sign up today, ESPNplus.com. How about some upsets today, college football, Mr. Golan?
My God, Tennessee goes down. You have Iowa State in the Big 12, barely dodging Northern Iowa. It has been quite a day. Dave Cutcliffe came out at Duke and ran the triple option the first series against Alabama. All hell's breaking loose.
Yeah, just enough to get Coach Saban a little bit irked on that Alabama side. I don't know if I'd want to poke that bear.
I can tell you from experience, it doesn't work out overly well. It does not work out well.
New quarterback for Nicholls. That's Cohen Grenier, the redshirt sophomore. Another Louisiana product. He'll get a chance here with just over 6 minutes to play.
Yep, missed last year with a knee injury, now coming in for Cade Knight over. Again, they're the favorite in the Southland Conference, and so they've got conference play to worry about. They've got another year trying to make now their 3rd straight appearance in the FCS playoffs.
Run that time by Gums. Gums, another talented player, only a sophomore. This young man is a true freshman, was simply awesome. They thought they were going to redshirt him. A couple times was on the field and just tore it up. Just had to burn the red shirt. He was so good. I'll tell you what, this talent, you mentioned it earlier on, out of that Louisiana area. That's something that Coach Rebo realized after just taking the job. We don't got to go to Florida and up north and all these places to recruit. We got plenty of talent right in our home state.
I mean, Coach Rebo knows it as well as anyone from the area. His brother was an All-American linebacker at Nicholls who went on to play for the Saints. And so he understands all too well how fruitful that area can be for recruiting, knowing full well you're going to be dealing with the marquee talent heading to LSU. You've got plenty in the area and plenty of people that are going to come from outside and try and recruit there, but he has the results to back it up ever since he got there, improving that win total year after year.
So now it's Grenier, 1st and 15 after the delay of game. Run it one more time, and this is that talented runner I was talking about, Gums, to the 45.
200-yard games last year.
Time out on the field for players' helmet off.
You know, we've talked a lot tonight about Coach Kleiman making the jump from FCS to FBS. A lot of coaches have tried that, Mike, in the past. That's not an easy thing to do. If he has success here at Kansas State, though, I think you're going to see it start to become a little bit of a trend.
Absolutely, and he's someone who understands coming into this situation that he's got something to prove. He told us we won games against FBS foes in one game, single season, as he called it, sample sizes. Now he's got to do it over the full slate of a Big 12 schedule, and I think you see a lot of people that come in and there's a bit of that air of, well, look what I've accomplished. Why wouldn't you expect that from me here? And I just think that approach, the humility to say, no, this is a different level and a different challenge, is going to net him so much.
Jim Harbaugh did it, went from San Diego to Stanford. Frank Beamer did it, Murray State to Virginia Tech.
I'd say that worked out.
Oh, yeah. Here's Grenier to the outside. He's got some wheels, and he'll take it out of bounds at the 45-yard line.
No, we've absolutely seen it done, and I think that perspective, too, gives you a leg up in games like this. There was no way Chris Kleiman was going to come in against the Nicholls team that he saw on the same side of his bracket in the FCF playoffs and say, I'm going to let my guys, because the natural tendency, listen, I played a lot of these openers against maybe not FCS opponents, but group of 5 opponents, people who are not the normal decals you see on the side of the helmets you play against, and the natural tendency is to let your foot off the gas.
This is Gums. He breaks loose inside the 20 and down to the 5-yard line, knocked out just shy of the goal line, so he busts another one for Nicholls, and they refuse to give up.
You see right here, right up State Street, where they've had success, quite frankly, all night, when you can get 2 double teams in those zone looks, and then it just turns into a foot race. You see the shot from Jonathan Alexander. Tales old as time, defensive backs talking trash 40 yards down the field.
First and goal from the 3. See if they feed Gums one more time. Little winded after that long run, but it doesn't matter. And I would have loved to see him get it a lot more early on in this game. He is so impressive once he gets ahead of steam. Touchdown, Nicholls.
Touchdown, Nicholls. So backup quarterback goes in that offense, still goes out there and maintains a lot of the starters in on that offensive line. And again here, just execution. Great job by Bradston Burnside getting up to the second level, occupying that linebacker and allowing Gums to get into the end zone. We talked about the Kansas State second-team offense going out and executing. The defense is going to have a different tune sung its way by Coach Hazelton on the sideline after that effort.
Kick up and good. Nicholls playing for pride, trailing 49-14. Little something more to take back to Thibodeau. 49-14. Certainly not Nicholls' night here in Manhattan. Just over 3 minutes to play, but a bright future ahead for the Colonels. Coach and quarterback Chase Forcade, a slow start tonight, just unable to overcome it, but they do get their second touchdown score of the night, the touchdown by Gums.
You look for silver linings, teachable moments in these situations, seeing your backup quarterback go in and operate the offense in that way. Obviously, no one plans for a situation where your starter's out, but still great to know your backup's been paying attention, getting those mental reps in, and executing what you've been teaching them.
Good return by Malik Knowles. And perhaps one more possession, final possession perhaps for Kansas State. For the Wildcats, anything stand out tonight Mike, that you would say needs to improve moving forward?
I think certainly on defense, you saw the couple times they got burned were on blitzes where guys were a little more isolated in coverage. You took some chances throwing some extra bodies at the quarterback. And we know in this league, you're going to see dynamic quarterback play. You're going to see great skill position play. So having the ability to flex man coverage at times is going to be vital. I think on the defensive side of the ball, they're really going to have to keep honing that as a skill.
Holcomb in at quarterback for Kansas State. Redshirt freshman, very talented out of Humble, Texas. Got the size, got the arm strength, and they're certainly excited about what he can do.
Boy, that is a big, big young man. Getting to look at in the backfield is, again, you want an offense that's multiple. How about a package for this guy down around the goal line? I understand Skylar Thompson's a great run threat, but sometimes there's no substitute for size. I think they say you can't coach that.
250 pounds
Woo.
at quarterback.
Yeet.
That's another carry by Tyler Burns. He's got a touchdown next to his name tonight. Just over 2 minutes here to play.
Yep, we're seeing that starting offensive line get a lot of rest on the sideline, and that was a group Coach Kleiman highlighted and said the leaders on that group, Adam Holtorf, your center, one of the captains, France we mentioned, 38 straight starts. They bought in right away, and when that group is willing to lead by example, when that group is willing to stand up in front of the rest of the team and say we're bought in, it's amazing how quick everybody else will fall into line.
Run this one left off the jet sweep. So this is Wenzel getting a chance to contribute. I'll tell you what, you know, lots of things to remember from tonight, but Mike, we get a chance to travel all over America, see college football all over this country. The scene here tonight when the team ran out with a packed house, sold out crowd, opening night, that was a pretty special moment, wasn't it?
You don't coach for your fan base. You coach for the players, you go out there and execute. But the rest of this atmosphere that can now exist, and again, it's not better or worse when we're talking about the comparison with Coach Snyder. It's just different. You had done things one way for 27 years of his tenure, as another big run from Holcomb on the keeper there. You had done things one way for 27 years, and now you get to do them a different way. And the approach is a little more relaxed.
Who's going to bring this guy down?
Again, student body left. You get a couple of guys pulling around in front of him. Great job getting up to the second level. I mean, I don't even think he had contact until there was 15 yards down the field. And then once he's got that head of steam going, you going to step in front of that? Because I'm not.
No way. Vince Young. Oh, DeMarcus Russell coming at you.
Hard pass. Somewhere Sam Ellinger's wondering if they can put that in the playbook for him.
Holcomb says, I like that. How about one more time? Now lowers the shoulder. He's having fun here in this final minute. And, of course, we mentioned Bowling Green, the opponent, a week from now before heading to Mississippi State in a showdown on ESPN2. It's going to be so interesting to watch these Wildcats throughout the season grow under this guy right here, the new head coach, Chris Kleiman. But they passed their first test tonight in Manhattan, and they put on a show.
You can only beat who's out there in front of you. You prepared well. They respected the opponent coming in. A very battle-tested FCS group. But now it's on. You get to step up next week in Bowling Green and then a couple of trips on the road. This team is going to learn a lot about themselves early, but the taste you leave with tonight is a great one.
Two classy head coaches there. Chris Kleiman of Kansas State, Tim Rebo of Nicholls. 49-14, the final score. Fireworks tonight in the Little Apple, Manhattan, Kansas. We'll wrap this game up when we come back right after these messages. Big 12 now on ESPN+.